Hey everybody, I'm John. I collect cards. Hope you're all doing well. It is Thursday, June 5th, and I'm actually coming at you here on camera from the place where I do actually most of my hobby time, and it's the little nook here in my unfinished area in my basement that I kind of have as my hobby space, and it's where I show all my cards pretty much on my videos. But I thought I'd start this video from here. As you can tell, it's I got a light hanging here. Probably not ideal, but that's my setup. Although it tends to light the videos pretty okay when I'm in here showing the cards. Sometimes a little too well. I get the glare sometimes I got to deal with, but for the most part, the room's lit pretty well for these videos. The sound's usually pretty good too. Um, but I kind of mentioned I do most of my hobby time in this space. So as a lot of you know who are watching this, the vast majority of our hobby time we spend alone. And that's one reason why the hobby community, the vintage community in particular, is so great. We have we have the collecting gene, I think, in common, and it's really nice to kind of come together, either in person or on camera or just in comments on others' videos to kind of just talk about this hobby that we enjoy. But we're not always doing that, and a lot of times we're enjoying the hobby by ourselves. And gosh, sometimes it almost makes you wonder. You're going through your cards. There are some that just stand out to you. It's almost like why you pick, like, if you pull a card out that you've owned for a while, and you realize why you picked it up in the first place and why you still enjoy it just as much as you did the first time you saw it or bought it, purchased it, traded for it, however you came across it or added it to your collection. But it's almost as if sometimes there's certain cards that almost kind of speak to you. um, I don't know, what do you think?
You hearing voices?
I don't know. I think, of course it's not literal, but at the same time, when we're enjoying our collections, looking at our cards or other, memorabilia items, in a space like this, kind of alone, your mind kind of runs a little bit. It runs nostalgic. It waxes nostalgic, of course. I think that's a huge reason why, and, I have enjoyed getting back into the hobby so much. I'm also a bit of a history buff to some degree as well. So kind of, sports, history, nostalgia, all those things kind of combine, as we all know. Um, Sometimes it almost comes across, though, in just some special cards that they almost speak to you. And so I wanted to talk about that in this video. And I'm going to show a bunch of cards, actually. I'm going to show like 35 cards, I think I counted out. And I'm going to go through them pretty quick. And what I'm going to do is kind of describe kind of what comes to mind in really brief, in like seconds for each one. Just in a way, how the player either speaks to me or the card speaks to me, whatever. It's like I kind of have a plan for it, but it's also gonna be kind of a half, you know think of it as I go, kind of like Indiana Jones did in Raiders of the Lost Ark. um, yeah, Gen Xer movie reference there for you. Anyway, I'm gonna turn the phone around now, show a bunch of cards, and just kind of talk about how they kind of talk to me.
Who's hearing voices?
I know, kind of weird, but hang on. I think you'll have fun at least seeing some cool cards. So, all right. So, like I said, I'm going to be quick with a lot of the words or the thoughts or what I'm hearing in my head, so to speak, as I kind of show these cards. All of these cards you've probably seen. If you watch a fair amount of my videos, you've probably seen almost all of these cards. There are no new pickups in this video, just as an FYI. But I don't know. I thought this was it was just another way that I wanted to kind of take out a bunch of cards, and these all have a common theme of, like I was just talking about earlier, but they just, I don't know, they communicate something to me as a collector, as a baseball fan, as a history fan or buff, to some degree, and just makes me think of generations past, including that of my family as well. So it's it's all of that meshed together, and I thought it'd be just a nice way to kind of show a bunch of cards under that umbrella, starting with this 1965 Topps Harmon Killebrew. This is I'm not even going to talk about grades at all in this video, just as an FYI. Most of these will be slabbed, as it turns out, but several will be raw too. But anyway, I have said on multiple occasions that this is I don't know, to me, this speaks to me as a perfect baseball card. It's an example of a perfect baseball card. That's what this says to me. It does that in a way because it said that to me, or it said some semblance of that to me 30 plus years ago when I picked it up as one of the first vintage cards I ever purchased. Bought this at one of the White Plains, New York big card shows, which was my neck of the woods growing up. And yeah, this card still speaks to me decades later. I just think it's an awesome, awesome card. From the expression on Harmon's face, you know, kind of just a portrait, to the color scheme of the card. I don't know, I just absolutely love it. And it's a fact that it was the Twins pennant winning year in '65 as well. Things like that speak to me too. So, and that'll probably be one of the longer descriptions of cards here. I'm going to go through, like I said, these cards relatively quickly. Just by coincidence, here's Harmon's teammate from back then. A little after '65 is when Rod Carew got started. '67 was his rookie year. This is also one among the first like 10 or so vintage cards I ever purchased back when I was in the hobby as a kid into my late teen years. Picked this up at a White Plains show as well. Almost certain of that. In fact, I'm 99% certain I did. What this said to me was I saw Rod Carew as a really good hitter late in his career with the California Angels, and I kind of just missed him as a Twin, and I just loved seeing this really great looking card of a great hitter in his young days when he was just getting going. So that was the reason I picked this up. It was also a pretty affordable card for an 18-year-old or 17-year-old looking to kind of dive into vintage a little bit and just start going back in time a little bit with his cards. And this was one of the first ones I ever bought. I absolutely love it. Bought that and the Killebrew Raw, as you would expect. Now let's get to, let's fast forward now to my present hobby life. And when I got back in 2020, not long after I got back in, I completely gravitated to this set, as most of you know. And this is quite possibly singularly, I could make a case for this being, in fact I did in a video once in a VR, where if I only had to have one card in my whole collection and get rid of everything else, if I had to only have one, this would be the card. This says family to me. This says New York baseball golden age, success, and just lore growing up. So it's that family because of my dad's side of the family being Giants fans back then, and heard about visits to the Polo Grounds that they did. They lived on the Upper East Side, and of course the Polo Grounds were in Washington Heights, in the northwest portion of Manhattan Island. But imagine a couple of buses and you're there back then. But yeah, absolutely love this Willie Mays card. It's my favorite Mays card, hands down. So that card says a lot to me. But you know what also said a lot to me? So I ended up collecting the entire 54 Topps set, as a lot of you probably know. But then just last year, I kind of had a thought about wanting all of the Hall of Famers from 1954, because that year, I don't know, it just resonates with me as a real seminal year in baseball. It sort of felt like peak golden age in New York baseball, especially. I grew up there. You had the catch and the Giants winning the series. Granted, it was the rare year without the Yankees or Dodgers in the series, but I don't know. I just gravitated toward 1954, and when I decided I wanted to get all of the Hall of Famers from that year, because obviously, not obviously. If you're not aware, only certain Hall of Famers, 22, are in the 54 top set, and many others, at least 16 that I've been able to count, are not in that set, and most are in Bowman, but some are not. This player is in the Bowman set, Roy Campanella, and this portrait of Roy Campanella, this amazing portrait, I think, of Campy, is what got me thinking, I got to get this card, and you know what? I really want to get all the 54 Hall of Famers. I want them all. So that's a quest that continues. I need 5 more, and I can identify. From Bowman, I need Mickey Mantle, I need Bob Feller and Pee Wee Reese. And from Red Heart, I want the Stan Musial. And then from Dandy Potato Chips, there's an Al Lopez card that I would like to get as well. So, but yeah, this beautiful Roy Campanella portrait is what got me wanting all the 54 Hall of Famers. And this, I don't know, I mean, just look at this card. He's definitely saying something in that portrait. At least to me, he is. So with that in mind, I'm going to start showing some more cards here. I got a few stacks here I'm going to run through. Here's another 54 Bowman. I'm going to show a few Yankee cards coming up here. They're my favorite team. I grew up a Yankee fan. This Allie Reynolds portrait, I don't know, I just think it's a great portrait. Love the New York, across the jersey as well. You're going to start to see a bit of a similar theme with some of these portrait kinds of shots. These are the kinds of shots that just sort of, they kind of, I don't know, they express something to me beyond being a cool card, a cool portrait of a great player. I don't know, they just, they have a certain je ne sais quoi, if you will. Allie Reynolds of the Yankees. Let's skip up fast forward a couple of decades. One of my baseball heroes, arguably my first hero, even though I only got to see him play a couple of times on TV, and technically once I did see him in person, even though I was 5 years old in my first baseball game. I don't remember really seeing him that night, but anyway, Thurman Munson was my first hobby hero, or first baseball hero, I could say. He's a hobby hero currently, always will be. Why this stands out to me is he is beaming. He's got a beaming smile in this. Clearly, I'm guessing someone said something pretty funny and he's chuckling. And yeah, that just resonates with me because there are not many pictures of him, cards or otherwise, where he's got such a fun, happy-looking expression on his underneath that mustache. So, love this card. Absolutely love that one. So I talked about my first baseball hero. Here's arguably my first baseball villain. Oh, and ironically, the George Brett card from 1978 Topps, which is my first to 78 Topps, the first set I collected. I think this is my favorite card in the set. So it's like conflicted much. That's what this card says to me. It expresses like, it's almost like a yin and yang. That's what this card is. That's what this card says to me. This is just an awesome. I love this Brett. I mean, I just love this card of his. In retrospect, I really like watching him hit too. He was a fantastic hitter. He was one of the best players of the 70s and into the 80s. And man, did he hurt the Yankees on a lot of occasions. And yeah, he was just one of those guys where, man, if he's on your team, I can see why he's your favorite player of all time potentially, because this guy was really, really good. And it's a really, really good baseball card. George Brett. All right. Here's another Yankee that I grew up with, essentially. Even though he was well retired by then, but he was still doing his thing, whatever that really was, in the broadcast booth. I definitely grew up as millions of us in the Northeast did, or in the New York metro area, grew up with Phil Rizzuto's voice. Holy cow, you Huckleberry, all that good stuff. Phil Rizzuto. What I like about this card, what this card kind of tells me is, I see his defense here, and it's just, he was a small player, but he was able to get around. He scooted, obviously, at shortstop. I'm curious why this, it's a cool pose, but like, it's almost like he jumped too high to catch a line drive or something. It's like, why isn't the glove like over his head or shoulder? Why is it way down there and he's jumping? It kind of is a strange portrait or action shot if you think about it. But it's a cool one. But what I like about the portrait here is that he's a little bit older. He's closer to getting into the broadcast booth. And so that's what kind of that sticks to me a little bit. So I think it's a cool card in that it's like it's almost like he's moving into from one Yankee career into the next, which is kind of cool. So 55 Topps Phil Rizzuto. And there's got to be one Mickey Mantle card that jumps out to me, right? There is, and I'm holding it right now. Now, really, there are 3 Mantle cards that I really want to have in my collection, and I have 2 of them now, but I'm about to show a 3rd one. I do have 3 currently, but there's one more that I don't have that I still want to get, and that's a 63. I want a 63 Topps, but I have his 57, and I also have his 67, which I really like his 67. I almost went with that one but I went with this one right here. I also have his 61, and now, I really like his 67 because it kind of shows Mick. Such a great smiling shot of him. If you know the one I'm talking about. It's probably in the dugout with kind of like that bluish greenish background. But it's old Mick, knees more banged up than ever. This one, what this says to me is, he's still kind of at the end of his prime, I guess you could say, the tail end of his prime. They lost the World Series. This is me making up stories. This is how they speak to me here. They lost the World Series the year before to Pittsburgh in a really tough one. And here he's just like, I've got something left. I've got a lot left in the tank. We're gonna we're gonna mean business this year and do our thing. And Mantle and Maris did their thing that year in '61, didn't they? I don't know. I just think it's a really interesting expression. It's almost like we're here to win. It's just it's just a random. That's how the photo was captured. But again, we look at these cards too long in our little spaces, and sometimes they sort of little thoughts kind of come in like that. It's like just you put yourself into that space if you could go back in time in a way. So it's fun. It's a fun little exercise. It's just a cool card. I like it a lot. I like this Mantle. This one really grew on me. I like the up close of his pinstripes here and holding the bat. Cool expression. Nice card. Real nice card. Let's show one more Yankee slugger that's of a card that really does speak to me, and I really just kind of saw for the first time just last year. I picked this up at the National last year, and interestingly enough, he's not with the Yankees, but it's Reggie Jackson, 1970 Topps Super in Yankee Stadium. What this card says to me, it's just like this is a preview of what's to come in this place here under the facade. It's like maybe it's a little too early right now in 1970, but we've got some history to make in here later this decade. So I don't know. I think it's a cool card. Really cool card. I don't have a lot of big pieces, but I don't have too many. I think I have one other Super, and I don't even have a single 64 Topps Giant, actually. It's sort of on my radar. I want to start picking a couple of those up soon enough. But this one, I absolutely love this picture. Really, really great shot of young Reggie. Sleeveless A's jersey is very cool too. And of course that facade in the old stadium. So absolutely love that one. Oh, and one more thing I'll add. I actually saw this card at the National about a half an hour after I saw Reggie do a little eBay live thing at the National that I was in, kind of in the area for, and watched him talk and stuff, and that was really cool. And then literally less than an hour later, I saw this card and I absolutely had to have it. So, and I got a pretty good deal for it too. So yeah, that one, in that way, it kind of spoke to me almost, in a weird way. Just weird, odd coincidences can be pretty fascinating, and they extend to the hobby for sure. Let me pull out the next stack of cards here. I'll try to go a little quicker here because I did promise I would do that. I love this Bill Dickey card. 1935, 1934, Diamond Stars. Bill Dickey. Absolutely love the Art Deco in New York. again, just there are just some portraits and illustrative renderings of portraits that just really, I don't know, they pull you in. They pull you in, and yeah, especially when they use great color. I can be a real sucker for great use of color, and probably like a lot of us. And this one has it. So, yeah, love that card. We're gonna stay pre-war here for a few. John McGraw. So when I was kind of, as a kid reading up on some, sometimes you'd have a kid book on like baseball history or baseball heroes. And I remember reading a chapter on John McGraw, just a little, paperback book for like a fourth grader or something, kind of like, that you would order from the school, scholastic order form kind of a thing. And I remember reading the chapter on John McGraw, and there were a couple of other, like, I think Wilbur Robinson was a chapter in that book, for famous Dodgers manager from way back when, around McGraw's time. And just, yeah, I don't know, they just seemed like so far away. Like might as well have been 3-4 centuries ago. Might as well have been the Middle Ages, let alone just the early 1900s. Now, the age I am now, in my 50s, this doesn't seem as long ago. And, I don't know, just the expression. I just love that expression on him there. It just, he was, managed the team for 30 years and kind of ran a tight ship. But man, could he manage the heck out of some ball players. And I don't know, this card kind of says to me that, I don't know, he was made to be a manager, so to speak. He was a pretty darn good ball player as well in the 1890s, I believe, with like the original Baltimore Orioles. But just a really, really great card. Love it. Great use of color too. And here's the manager that followed John McGraw. Showed this recently. Got this at Strongsville this year. This is one of my favorite cards in the hobby. This Bill Terry 33 Gaudy, card 125. He's got 2 cards in this set. This has become one of my favorite cards in the entire hobby. I just think that, I've said it before, I think that portrait just hit all the marks on this one. I think it's a work of art. And the same portrait was used in 34 Gaudy and just didn't quite hit the mark as well as this one does. Just such an awesome pensive looking pose there, that were captured the way they captured Terry in that shot, or in that, just sort of that moment. And he had hit 400 just a couple years back in 1930, I believe it was. Yeah, 1930. It's the last National League player to hit 400 still. And then he took on the managing of the Giants a couple years later, and gosh, they won the 1933 World Series, don't you know? So, just a pretty cool card. So that card will always be speaking to me. Here's another one that spoke to me. So much so that I just had to pick it up, even though I knew next to nothing about William Killefer. And then I really got into his story a little bit, and just into some of just this. It kind of, I made some connections of pre-war players that was just really cool. And knowing that he basically grew up where I've made my home for the last, gosh, how long have I been living in Kalamazoo now? 15, 16 years. Kind of lose track after a while, don't you? But it's my kid's hometown, and just seeing that, it just kind of all resonated with me. And as a dad, I guess. And, my kids aren't into baseball that much, to be honest, but let alone baseball cards, even though I've occasionally tried a little bit, but they've got their own interests, and that's fantastic. But this card speaks to me for the absolutely amazing portrait work on this, but then also this piece on the back. And yeah, so I absolutely love having this Crackerjack. And gosh, the use of color on this, I think it's just fantastic. So in terms of card design, yeah, it just absolutely pulled me in. So that one does its thing. And let's show a few more here. I probably got about 15 more, so I probably should go quicker. Here's my Here's my 55 Ernie Banks. Another red background card that just really, yeah, just something about this Ernie Banks card that I just absolutely love. It's just young Ernie, second year Ernie. Different images from the year before on tops where they repeated so many portraits from 54. But this one, they went with a different one. And I love the blue and red countering together. They work so well together. And the Fun Cub logo that they had back then, young Ernie, like I said, just a cool card. That's one horizontal card. There's not too many horizontal cards that really jump out to me that much, but that Banks does. This Brooks Robinson does. And I'm not a huge fan of the 60 set, but I like the portrait, or the kind of, I guess that's a portrait. Young Brooks Robinson. And like I said, I'm not a big 60 tops fan, but here's the color scheme that does work for me the most. I really like, there's something about that black and white lettering with the blue background that I just thought comes across pretty cool. I really like that. And then with the red on the left, I don't know, I just think this one was executed really well. Really like that card. So much so that I bought it. Yeah, I like that one. I'm a big fan of portraits where they're looking off camera. I said that on multiple occasions. But I also like a lot of portraits that even if they are looking directly at you, there's some of them like that Terry just I don't know, they say something to me. This one is really all about the art on this one, the art decisions, I guess you could say, or the art direction, maybe. Would that be the right phrase to use for this card? I just showed this recently, actually, I think, but showing this Clemens again, 91 tops, absolutely my favorite card from 91 tops, and it's one of my favorite, it might be my favorite Junk Wax era card, period, because I was out of the hobby pretty much after this year, and from the few years before this, when Junk Wax is really getting going, there's not another card that really jumps out to me like this one does. So I just thought it was so creative when I first saw it. It didn't speak to me. This card practically screamed at me when I first saw it. I just thought it was so cool. And there are several cool cards in 91 tops. The Wade Boggs card's a great card of the camera looking up with like the clouds in the background. That's an awesome card too. But I like this one more. I just love the way they used Strikeout and the monster, and it says Boston, it says Red Sox, it says, Rocket Clemens. It's just, card works in a lot of ways. So it's just a good example that sometimes when the maybe when the tops editors or photo editors, when they have a little bit more time, they can get, because I can imagine the work that they have to pump out to get card designs chosen. I mean, I can only imagine with all the sets that they do, how many they probably have to work on, and it must be hard to like make great photo matches or just great card choices. Stadium Club's probably where they shine the most, I guess, on that. But like basically, I'll bring the Clemens up one more time and I'll move on. A card like this today is a short print. They shouldn't have short prints like this. They should have cards like this that are in regular standard issue tops and not necessarily just a short print. Here's my little mini rant for this video. I've got about, 10 more maybe to show. Got a few more portraits I'm just going to run through that I'm not actually going to say too much about. I'm just going to show them. I'm going to be quiet on this next stretch of cards, and just, you've seen them all probably before. They're all pretty classic kind of portraits from the 60s and 70s, and yeah. What do they say to you? I'm not even going to show the backs of these. This card really spoke to me. Absolutely love this card, as I do all the previous ones I just showed. And you know what also spoke to me pretty well? This is the cheapest slab I think I still have ever bought since I got back in the hobby. I remember it well. Before tax and shipping, this slab cost me $3.25. $3.25. And for a card I absolutely love. Look at Kirby's beaming expression. Look at his smile. Oh my gosh, the guy loved playing baseball, and he was darn good at it. Absolutely love this card. That says that this game can be really fun, and is really fun. At the heart of it, it's like just strip everything away. This is just it's a kid's game, and gosh almighty, they got to do it for a living. How freaking cool was that? All right, I'm down to about 5 or 6 cards to show. No, actually, a few more than that, because a lot of these are going to be raw, actually, but similar to what I just showed with Kirby. Orlando Cepeda. I saw this at a local show, actually, about 2 years ago. One of the first tables I saw that day, this card literally popped right up to me. I'm like, okay, done. $10, you got it. Here you go. I'll take this card. This card looks awesome. Love Orlando Cepeda's expression here. 62 pennant winner. And this year resonates with because of my dad was still rooting for the San Francisco Giants after they had moved in '62. He hadn't found his new team, which ended up being the Boston Red Sox just yet. So, and it was just the Mets' first year. And my grandfather eventually became a Mets fan, and I only knew him as a Mets fan. But my dad was never a Mets fan. He was a Red Sox fan the whole time I knew him. But before that, he was a Giants fan, even in San Francisco. And he liked Orlando Cepeda quite a bit. Loved Willie Mays, but he also really liked Orlando Cepeda. Talked about him a fair amount. Here's his teammate. What a fun card this is. Again, just speaks to the fun piece of the game. What a fun portrait that is. Here's one example of a grade I'll talk about. This is one of the first slabs I bought back when I got back in the hobby in 2020. I probably got it for, I don't know, $15 maybe. I was like, wow, I can get this awesome card. Look at the corners on this 63 in an 8. And it's a cool photo to boot of one of those early 60s Giants. Absolutely. But beyond that, just look at the fun photo. It's such a cool card. Love it. Another fun shot. Absolutely love this picture of Tony Perez from '70. Love bats. I love bats and bat racks in dugouts in cards. There's one more I'm going to show here in a little bit. But I see Tony swinging this bat in the pose. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm clutch, and I can hit the ball, and I can drive people in. And that's what he did. Really, really cool card. Another just nice smile here. This is the first card from this classic set I bought since I've bought a few more since then, but and a few of them are even slabbed and graded. But this was the first 53 Bowman color card I bought. Not long after I got back in, I found it at my LCS and absolutely loved it. I'm a fan of holding the baseball in portraits, and this one just really jumps out with the white. It's really up close. Great smile. Do you know who it is? I'm sure you do, but maybe you don't. Really good Pirates pitcher for many years. Very, very cool card. The lighting, the sunlight, it just really works in this photo. Cool card. Here's a Pirate teammate that I think Bob Friend was playing into the 60s for a time. I don't know if Friend and Stargell were teammates ever. I think they may have been, but I want to say, I can't remember if Friend ever played for another team after Pittsburgh. You may have to correct me if he did or denied it, or just let me know, because I don't remember that. But anyway, another Pirate, young Willie Stargell, 4th or 5th year, maybe 3rd or 4th year. Really, really like this card. Love the sleeveless jersey again. Speaks of an older time and greatness to come, and just like, he's not even seeing the pops moniker. He's not even close to that yet. Look how young he looks in this picture. I don't know. I just like this card quite a bit. Here's an underrated, unsung kind of player, and just a fantastic baseball card. I don't know. I guess it's just equipment. I like baseballs up close. I like catcher's mitts. I like the hat backward in that. I just think that's a really, really cool pose. A little bit of, I don't know, just the angle of the portrait looks creative to me as well. It's not in the center. It's off to the right and down a little bit, which works with him looking up. The photo editor had, put some thought into the crop and the layout of this card or design of this card. So that speaks to me as well. That speaks to me. So, Earl Battey is a pretty good ball player. Here's another example of positioning the portrait, or positioning the photo. Look at the young Ron Santos here. This is a second-year card, and what I really like about the positioning of this is it makes this paper flip effect really work, I think, because it's not like blocking him out too much at all. So, I don't know, I just really like that. Look at the lighting on this one is also really works really well. I mean, it must have been a flash. It was probably a flash bulb they used on this. Just the colors really pop on this card, especially with the wood background, the blue and even the whitish gray. They really pop on that card. So that kind of speaks to me a bit. And then I know we're way over 30 minutes. This is a long video, guys. It's a little longer than I thought. I thought it might be a half an hour, but it's going to be closer to 40 or 35. But if you're still with me here, thanks very much. I hope you're enjoying me talking about cards and kind of what they say to me a little bit. And just, I haven't looked at some of these for some time until I pulled them out of my boxes here. But another one where the sunlight and the photography, that particular day, just really worked for a photo. Gene Woodling, Yankee veteran for many years, played with Cleveland for a while at the start of his career and then late in his career too. And what I like about this is that, like a lot of 57 cards, they come across kind of dark. Actually, they're sort of like a grayish kind of like tinge to them. I don't know if that's because of the card stock itself, or it was just maybe the days they chose to shoot photos of the players at Yankee Stadium or in Brooklyn or the Polo Grounds or a few other places. But on this day, Gene Woodling, I mean, he's just jumping off the card here with the bat, and I just think that's a really, really cool photo. So that jumps out to me. I like it a lot. And then speaking of that, 1957, one more from that year. Actually, no, I've got a couple more from that year to end this video. But here's one that I showed once before. This card, I see Elmer Valo, veteran player at the Philadelphia A's mostly, but then played with the Phillies right at the end of his career, I guess. But it's not the bat and the bat rack, to me, that does it. You see something else in this photo, you almost have to look hard in the background. It kind of blends in. It's that TV camera. I mean, that is a time machine right here. This is a time machine kind of card, folks. That's what this says to me. Just absolutely love. It just says the 50s. I mean, it's just so cool. Such a cool shot there. So the other, the might be a ballpark employee in the background too, potentially. I don't know. Just absolutely love this card. And I've got 3 more to show. We're going to kind of circle back to my earliest vintage cards that I bought. This was one of those cards as well. Bought it raw, of course. Knowing that they made a card for Roberto Clemente in '73, knowing the Topps did that, I don't know, that definitely said something to me. I just thought that was so cool. Almost kind of eerie in a way, especially when I saw this. When I see just the even 3,000 that he ended up with, got his 3,000th hit in '72. I'm shaking my head right now. I'm like, man, just such a tragedy what happened to him. in service to his fellow man and woman. Human. A human. Great human. Great human being. One of the best, I guess, right? Man. Just a cool card. It says that card said a lot to me many years ago, and it still does today. Okay, I've got two last cards. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed these. The last two cards I'm going to show are autographs, and they're both from 1957 Topps, actually, believe it or not. This is the first card I sent out to get signed through the mail. This is a part of the hobby that has been new to me for the last 4+ years. It's been really fun. I kind of have my ebbs and flows in terms of how many cards I send out. I'm on a little bit of a I guess an ebb right now. I'm not sending quite as many out at the moment, but it'll pick up again. But this one, I mean, Carl Erskine has probably signed a couple of thousand of these, maybe many thousand 1957 Topps cards, and he probably always signed it right here because he knew it's the right place to sign it. But you know, it was the first time he did it for me, and it was my first through the mail autograph, and I will always treasure this card because of that. And I think he signed an index card I included as well, left a nice little brief note on it too. It was just, yeah, he was an absolute goat, one of the goats of through the mail autographs, and rest in peace, Mr. Erskine. And then the last card I'm going to show, 57 Topps again, another autograph. And this player is still with us. I had to check on Wikipedia. He is still with us, actually. He was a journeyman infielder on the Philadelphia Phillies. He may have played for another team. I don't actually remember. Ted Kazansky. So I got this autograph 2 years ago, roughly. I had to look it up because I keep track of when they all come back. I almost get choked up looking at this card. That's what this card does for me. Kind of says to me. It tugs at me a little bit from a journeyman ball player who I think his career batting average was like 217. He was pushing 90 years old. He's like 91 years old now. I had just turned 50. And he said, "Good luck, John." I mean, just me saying that, it's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, he was pushing 90. He's saying that to a 50-year-old. "Good luck, John." It's like, I don't know. I don't know. There's something about this card. It's just cool. I mean, I'm sure he wrote good luck to every autograph he did, but I mean, don't check out too soon, Ted. Hopefully you got a lot of years left, buddy. Mr. Kazansky, thank you very much for this autograph. It's one of my several hundred that I've gotten now of ball players that I've really enjoy having. It's a fun piece of my collecting journey. But that is it, folks, as they say. How about that, as Mel Allen once said. Let me put up a couple of cards here to kind of wrap this up. And, do these cards, do cards speak to you? They do to me. They do to me. I don't exactly know why, but they do. And I will say this. If you take a moment and
listen to them.
Yeah. Take a moment and listen to them. Maybe they'll do that much more to increase your hobby enjoyment too. So, all right, that's all I got for you today, folks. I've gone on long enough with this. I pushed 40 minutes, so thanks again, everybody, and enjoy the rest of. We're at the weekend now. It's probably Friday when you're watching this. So, okay, take care. I'll see you on the next video.